Hi, my name is Dominique Fioravanti. I'm a board certified behavior analyst at the Kinney Center. I want to thank you for tuning in again for this edition of Parent Corner. Today we will be discussing employment, autism in the workplace. As an individual who works with a lot of teenagers and adults with autism, this is definitely a topic that comes up a lot with parents and caretakers, and I love to discuss some information with you to help you better understand the services that are offered to help with employment and just the different types of employment. Before we get started talking about autism in the workplace, I do want to talk about the importance of employment. As you probably know, employment is critical for financial independence, health insurance and benefits, and building relationships among coworkers. 99% of adults ages 21 through 25 will work, and employment is the primary goal for students with disabilities who are transitioning out of high school. And each year, roughly 50,000 individuals on the autism spectrum do graduate out of high school, and that is a lot of individuals that are graduating and transitioning out that have the same primary focus of finding a job. Let's talk about employment statistics. So individuals with autism have the lowest employment rate compared to peers with other types of disabilities. So in their early 20s, young adults with autism had far lower rates of employment than their peers with other types of disabilities. And autism rests at 58% of ever worked after high school. Now let's talk about statistics of individuals on the autism spectrum that are employed. So individuals with autism hold an average of 3 jobs during their early 20s. Nearly 80% of those individuals work part-time, earning an average of $9.11 per hour. And full-time employees earn an average of $8.08 per hour. Nearly 42% of young individuals on the autism spectrum never worked for pay in their early 20s. As time passes from high school, these statistics do get better. So as you guys can see on the screen, the 0 to 2 years after high school, only 32% of individuals with autism held a job, whereas after 6 to 8 years after transitioning out of high school, 93% of those individuals held a job. So in your IEP meetings, you may hear of transition plan. So during this transition plan, we have to discuss goals for transitioning out of high school. So transition age typically includes ages 14 through 22. Now, I know this can seem really young when you are going to an IEP meeting when your child is 12 or 13 and you start hearing these words of transitioning and what comes after accepting that diploma. But it is really critical to start understanding these services and establishing goals for your child young so we can help break that barrier of those statistics and help your child gain employment earlier. So you want to begin identifying strengths and areas of need of improvement to best determine a work path, and you should always have defined goals for jobs. You want to begin building experience at skills at an early age, such as in grade school. Now, when I tell parents this, their eyes usually get wide and they're like, oh no, it's too late. But don't worry. I say this because a lot of times you can develop interest in those younger ages, but it's never too late to develop interest. But even activities such as helping you cook in the kitchen or clean up, or if they're really interested in animals, maybe helping at a volunteer at an animal shelter, or just simple chores around the house or outside. Building these skills and interests at a young age can help identify different interests your child has and help make it easier when thinking about what kind of job or career they would like to have when they do transition out of high school. Now let's talk about different types of employment. So you'll often hear about these 3 different types of employment. There is competitive employment, supported employment, and secured or sheltered employment. Now, I know that you have probably had to learn all the different language and jargon throughout the years, so don't worry, we're going to go through these different categories and talk about each of them in their own individual aspects. So competitive employment is the most independent type of employment for individuals on the autism spectrum. There is no support in the work environment. This does not mean they're not getting support outside of work, it's just on the job, they are independent and alone. So this is great for careers that require focus, and it may include limited social interactions. Examples of competitive employment can include computer science and different research opportunities, and this may include different workplace accommodations such as dimmed lighting. Now let's move on to supported employment. So supported employment is paid employment. This includes support in the work environment. So you may have heard the term job coach before. A job coach is someone that is on the job site with your child or loved one who is helping them learn the new different skills they need to be successful in their job. And ideally, this support of a job coach would be faded over time. It depends on your child or loved one's individual skill set. So individuals have a paid position within the community, and this may include a mobile work crew. So if you were like me, when I first heard this term, I had to go to Google because I did not know what it was. And a mobile work crew is a small group of employees that work at several locations. This typically includes community-based businesses, and they move from contract to contract. Secured and sheltered employment is the most restrictive. This is guaranteed a job in a facility-based setting. Now, there is a difference between secured employment and sheltered employment. So secured employment, the individual receives work skills and behavioral training on the job site to help increase independence in the future, whereas sheltered employment does not include that training that could lead to further independence. Now that we've discussed the different types of employment, let's talk about obtaining employment and the services necessary to be successful with employment. So in order to obtain employment, there are agencies that are available to assist in the process. Some agencies include state employment offices, vocational rehabilitation departments, social services offices, mental health departments, disability-specific organizations, and I included the City of Philadelphia's department since, as you may know, St. Joe's is located in Philadelphia. So in the City of Philadelphia, the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, also known as DBHIDS, can help with obtaining employment. Now that we talked about obtaining employment, I want to talk more about the City of Philadelphia's DBHIDS. I included the URLs so you can go look at their services. Some of their services on their website include career counseling, comprehensive job assistance centers, employment preparation, employment transition counseling, job finding assistance, job readiness, job search resource centers, job search and placement, job training formats, supported employment, and vocational rehabilitation. So different job search and placement agencies in Philadelphia include these 4 different options. There are several more. These are just the 4 that I have had experience with. AHEDD, Community Integrated Services, also known as CIS, JEVS, Human Services Employment, and PATH, People Acting to Help People, Intellectual Disability Services. And as I said before, I included the URLs so you can better find the services. Now, once you find services and find a job, there's another aspect of finding support within that job. So supported employment agencies within Philadelphia. I actually had picked the 4 different options from the previous slide that also offer supported employment in the workplace. And that's AHEDD, CIS, JEVS, Human Services Employment, and PATH, People Acting to Help People, Intellectual Disability Services. That's all for today. I hope that you learned something new about the different types of employment and the different services available for you and your loved one. Now, I know this is a confusing area, so if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will try my best to get back to you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you again for tuning in.